world-class athletes, nationally and internationally successful. National, European, world, and Olympic champions. Their most important assets are their bodies. If they become injured, then all their training, effort, and years of preparation are rendered meaningless. World-class athletes have very sensitive bodies. They have to look after and protect their most valuable assets, and they require optimal medical treatment. This is also decisive for success in every phase of an athlete's career. Even a world-class athlete can only be as good as his body will allow him to be. These athletes have ambitious goals, and they all trust Vitalife. With the MRS 2000, I've improved my performance.
With the MRS 2000, you can feel something happening deep within your body when you're lying on the mat. Toxins are removed more quickly.
I also use the MRS 2000 to avoid injuries, mostly before stretching. It helps me achieve a better blood flow and a more effective stretching.
During the winter, I sometimes have problems with my sacrum. When that happens, I place the mat below the injured area 3 times a day, and the pain usually disappears after 2 days. If the pain returns, I do it again, and it always works.
How you like that?
In ice hockey, you often have muscular injuries, contusions or irritations. You can treat these very well with the MRS 2000. It also helps quite effectively when combined with normal ultrasound treatment and massages. I feel fit during the entire season now, whereas earlier I got tired or my concentration would weaken. If you use it once and you feel better and then use it repeatedly, you start believing in it, and it helps you psychologically. It's something I wouldn't want to do without now.
Ich möchte das auf jeden Fall nicht mehr missen.
I can feel my body is much more relaxed when I'm lying on the mat. One can hardly put it in words, really. One has a more comfortable feeling and is also more agile afterwards. That's the wonderful effect of the MRS 2000. I use this sleeve after training because his muscles are warm. He has problems with weak connective tissue, so I like to give the horse this treatment to increase his well-being, muscular condition, and agility. Great, I'll try it out after my next race.
I often have tenseness in my back because I ski slalom. I think the mat helps me to relieve these back problems.
Physical regeneration is very important because we're always under enormous physical and mental stress.
I use the mat after a hard day's training. For me, it's important to chill out and regenerate well. Jet lag is always a problem for us. This system helps to overcome it.
The MRS 2000 has helped to give me a good mental edge. All my experiences with the MRS 2000 have been of a physical nature. It helps me get going before training. Afterwards, I just lie down on it in order to regenerate faster and to be able to sleep better at night.
If I go into training regenerated, then I'm less likely to get injured than if I train when I'm tired. Okay, Jasmine, sit down on the edge of the massage table. Perfect. Now grasp one leg, the knee. Bend it, arch your back and roll backwards. We want to test your groin muscle and determine its condition before use of the magnetic field resonance system and its condition afterwards. Will your body react? Will the muscle react? I'm just going to measure the distance between your heel and the floor. Okay. Now let's bend your leg. Let the heel hang loose. 31 centimeters on the left side. And now stay on your back but change legs and straighten the other leg. 34 centimeters on the right side. Let's record that distance. Now we switch on the magnetic field resonance system and you can lie down again. I've activated the system for 8 minutes with the regenerative intensity following training. That's 25%. And now I'll place the mat behind your groin muscle and set it for 16 minutes with an intensity of 150%. For me as a trainer, the muscle tone examination is a great way of determining the tone or tension of the muscle. The MRS 2000 Plus has a loosening, relaxing and antispasmodic effect. That's why we can use it more effectively. Looking ahead to the next training session in order to be optimally prepared. Let's see what has happened. We have 27 centimeters on the left and 31 on the right. Okay, as you can see, we have a 4 centimeter difference on both sides. The body has reacted, and as a result, you can now stretch much more effectively. We use the MRS 2000 to shorten regenerative phases between training sessions. That's very important at an altitude of 2,000 meters. We're very satisfied with the system and glad we have it. I broke my thumb about 3.5 or 4 weeks ago and had real problems, even in the long term. But in just a short time, the mat has helped me recover fully. That's a success for me, a great success.
Das ist für mich ein Erfolg, das ist für mich ein Riesenerfolg.
When I lay down to regenerate on the mat, I feel much more at ease afterwards and very relaxed. It really loosens up my muscles.
I always used the MRS 2000 when I had back troubles. Even after the second treatment, I felt much better.
I can take it with me wherever I go because it's not very heavy. It's easy to use and doesn't take up much room. I can store it just about anywhere in my car.
It positively influences your metabolism, which is very important. The flow of blood is increased and impurities are passed on much quicker, which means one is better prepared physically and mentally for any new exertion.
In letzter Konsequenz auch der Kopf dann viel freier für die nächsten Belastungen sich präsentiert.
I recover more quickly. I notice it in the evening before I go to bed because I fall asleep more easily and my sleep is deeper and more restful.
I've been using this treatment for the past 2 months with the large mat and the small cushion. After having torn my Achilles tendon twice and having suffered from ankle joint problems, I don't have to take any more anti-inflammatory medications. The MRS 2000 has helped me to continue my athletic career. The ability of the human body to perform depends on many different factors. A holistic approach is necessary in order to be able to analyze these correctly, because every chain is only as strong as its weakest link. How can athletes improve their individual performances? The best place to begin is within each individual cell. Cells are the most elementary components in our bodies. In fact, the human body consists of about 70 trillion cells, which are responsible for developing and processing energy. The MRS 2000 stimulates the body's cells so that they deliver more energy.
An ideal sprinter should have lots of dynamic power and good overall condition. My personal strength is endurance. When I first heard about MRS 2000, I was skeptical. I didn't believe it could have any effect. Sometime later, I injured my Achilles tendon, so I bought the rod and used it as a secondary treatment. I'm convinced that this treatment with the MRS 2000 helped me to qualify for the Olympic Games.
I used to have sore muscles after training or competition. The MRS 2000 solved that problem for me, so now I can train the next day more intensively than before. I believe the MRS 2000 will help me attain my athletic goals. I've already won an Olympic medal, but my vision is to set a world marathon record. During cross-country ski training in winter, I log about 10 to 12,000 kilometers. I had the most positive experience with the mat following a knee injury. I visited one doctor after another and none of them could cure me. In the end, it was the mat that helped me. The rod is great, especially for sinus infections. You can treat the affected area precisely by going over it with the rod. You really notice that the MRS 2000 revitalizes you and then regenerates you after training.
In septathlon, the physical stress is very high compared to that of an individual discipline. If you have a serious injury, it's often better to try and cure it naturally without injections.
Just take a pause and concentrate on breathing through your nose. We use the MRS 2000 deliberately for mental training. The brain plays an enormous role, and the calming, relaxing effect of the MRS 2000 enables me to influence these athletes much more easily while they perform breathing or relaxation exercises. The MRS 2000 is excellent for mental training.
Bewährt sich hier das MRS 2000 hervorragend.
I use the MRS 2000 to activate my body before training, and especially after training for regeneration. I can feel a clear regenerative effect in my legs. The MRS has a warming effect and improves blood circulation, which leads to its regenerative effect.
I've had an elbow injury since late May, and for a long time I wasn't sure what it was. It was eventually diagnosed as a capsule injury, so my tendons and muscles were also affected. It was very sensitive and painful. Then I began working with the MRS 2000, and it helped me within a very short time.
When I'm lying on the mat, it's time for me to relax completely, to take time for myself. Even after treatment, I can feel a prickling sensation everywhere.
The MRS 2000 helps me above all during regeneration, so that I'm 100% fit for the next training session.
I often have capsule problems here in front and contusions. They're usually the worst after training. It's then that I always lie down on the mat and notice that the pain has decreased. We use the MRS 2000 during hard training sessions in order to increase performance by several percent. This is the first year in which I've been able to train without encountering any health problems.
I go through a special preparation before an event. I lie down on the magnetic resonance field first thing in the morning and set the power at 200%. Then I place the mat between my feet and the wall and do another 8 to 16 minutes at 400%. I'm convinced that it helps me and improves my performance. Once again, I can achieve the best distances in the shot put without pain. That's what counts.
Vitalife wishes these athletes lots of success. We'll be rooting for them.
When you win, it's a great feeling, one you want to have again and again.